So now we are going to have an open Q&A. We have discussed a lot today. Some of it has been accelerated and compressed, and maybe we didn't get to all the questions that we had about the topic. So at this time, we'll just open it up for general comments. We appreciate all of you who have been participating silently. We hope you will join us and share your voices and your questions and concerns at this time. And you can either raise your hand in the Teams feature, or you can just unmute your mic and holler it out, whatever you're most comfortable with, or put it in the chat, whatever people would like to do. So I will open the floor now. Chris, we will start with you. I always love someone who asks the first question, so thank you.
No worries, no shame in doing that. So hi, I'm Chris Warwick, 2017 MSSA grad, and currently working with Opportunity Knocks for Veterans as a volunteer, which is the veteran outreach program at Expeditors. And my question was about the program management learning track. I was curious if there was any thoughts of expanding that beyond the mil spouse cohorts to veteran cohorts as well.
Merrick, do you want to take that one?
Yep, I can take that. So Chris, great question. And we get that a lot, actually, right out the bat. Right now, we are planning to reserve that curriculum for our military spouses. But we are also considering expanding that to our regular transitioning service members and veterans. We're because this is our initial offering, we are learning from how we've put that curriculum together and how the cohort progresses through that curriculum. We'll be making updates. We've got another cohort planned in the January timeframe kickoff. So we'll be looking at how we can evolve or update the curriculum appropriately for the spouse audience, see what works best, and then we will be considering expanding that to a broader audience.
Thanks, Merrick. Any other questions? Or even if you were on a panel and you felt like, oh, I wish I'd said that. If you have something else to add, feel free to insert that at this time too. Just want to make sure everybody was heard and we got everything that we wanted to talk about talked about. Here's one from Ladora in the chat. How do you start your journey? It seems there are many cohorts Microsoft has one, but doesn't start until next year. Is there a place we can go to see upcoming cohorts? Also, when applying, do you add military spouse to your resume? I'm not sure who'd like to answer that one from our team. Someone from operations, Dina or Eric, are you able to answer that?
I'll go ahead and.
You want that, Terry?
Oh, go ahead. So I'm sorry.
Now?
It took me a
Okay.
while to find
Sorry,
you.
guys.
So.
Who was that?
I think we
got
were
Derek,
having this.
we got Eric,
the same
Dina,
problem.
and Terry. So I'm not sure who wants to field that one.
Who was on there besides me? Who wants to respond?
Eric and Dina are also.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean, I'll go ahead and post our website where you can go to see. You'll see upcoming cohorts, the date, the application cycles, our frequently asked questions, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a ton of stuff there. Start there. And if not, if you still have further questions, I'll also put our ops inbox in here that you can reach out to, and the broader team can help out with further questions if needed. Oh, thanks, Megan.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. Yeah,
And
when
then,
in doubt, we always say reach out to mssaops@microsoft.com. Those are the brains of our team, and they'll get back to you with what you need to know. So
Definitely.
yeah,
To
Dina,
answer
did you have more to add?
The second part of the question, adding when applying, do you add military spouse to your resume? I'm going to give you an answer that you're probably not going to like to hear, but it just depends on you. There's always a risk when you do that because you don't know the other person's impressions on military spouse. When I first, my husband just retired after 24 years last year. And when we were first married, the first 15 years, I would have never, ever put it on a resume or anywhere because I knew that that was going to decrease my chances. And I've had interviewees tell me straight to my face. And then at a certain point, I realized I didn't want to work for a company that wouldn't understand the value that I bring as a military spouse. So now you will see that it is on my LinkedIn, it is on my marketing materials. And that's something in our military spouse cohort we will be covering and talking about, is some of those impressions that you go. So it's really going to be a personal decision. You do have to understand that you may be taking a risk by putting it on. So hopefully that answers.
Yeah,
Thanks, Tina. Thanks, Eric.
I'd like to add an employer's perspective on that if I could, Beth.
Please do.
From, I think that's a really valid point that you make there. And, from an employer's perspective, at CHI, would encourage you to put that on your resume, military spouse, because then we can identify you. We can help. We have various support and recognition activities for military spouses who are employees. So we know who you are. We can invite you to things. We can invite you to our employee resource group. About half of our Verge chapters are being run by military spouses. So we encourage them to identify. And then, when it comes to gaps on resume and explaining other things that sometimes are challenges for military spouses, that our team then can explain those in an advocacy note to hiring managers. Hey, you might see a 3-year gap here. Well, that's when there was a family deployment, or you might see different jobs every 3 years. Well, that's when they've been PCSing from one base to another. So I think there is some advantage, in a military ready company for identifying yourself as a military spouse, and we would encourage that, because then we can be there for you as a resource.
Thanks for that insight, Gary. Now you're going to be flooded with resumes from military spouses.
Keep them coming.
Yeah, Megan had commented in the chat. It would be great to hear from some of the other attendees, maybe some of the companies that weren't actively on a panel. What are some of the initiatives that your company has taken to attract, retain, and support the military community? I mean, I thought that was great hearing from Juniper about the cookbook they were doing and the service dogs and things that I hadn't heard of other companies doing, but really interesting and innovative ideas. So is anybody else in the audience doing something like that they'd like to share with the group? Or not. Maybe we can move on to another topic then. Is there any area that we did not cover, or that even for those of you who weren't in our earlier session, we talked a lot about the curriculum. I don't know if there is interest in hearing more about some of the changes that we've made to the curriculum. We can talk more about the employer portal. Is there anything that you are leaving this meeting with feeling like you still need more information on? If so, if you could, let us know that, put it in the chat. We just want to make sure that we are giving you ROI on the time that you have committed to today's programming. And we're continuing to have some polling questions there that we ask you to participate in, just to make it more engaging and interactive. Well, I'm going to interject, and I hate to put you on the spot, Minerva, but I think you're with us still. I feel like we didn't talk a whole lot about the mentoring aspect of our program as it relates to MSSA, and also broader to any corporation that's looking to bring into military, and the importance of having that mentoring piece in place. And I didn't know if you wanted to share a little bit more with those of us on the call about how we do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Beth. Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Minerva. Most of you guys know me, but I co-lead the mentor and volunteer component of the MSSA program. And I'm a little biased. It's my favorite part because I get to connect active participants with Microsoft employees that are really just enhancing the great learning that they're getting from the classroom, both the technical side and the professional side. So our mentors are here on a volunteer basis. So they're here either supporting the technical side or the professional. We've got even mentors that support both. And so it's a weekly commitment for those that are supporting both the skills, and then every other week for those that are supporting one. Now, the great part about our mentoring is that, like I said, it's a volunteer effort, and our mentors go above and beyond of what we ask them to do. A great example, we recently just had a request from a CDM that wanted 4 of her participants that initially applied to the CSO, but because we didn't have enough applicants, we offered them a seat in the server and cloud operations cohort. But these 4 participants really were still wanting that strong cybersecurity field information. And so they reached out to me and asked if I could reach out to our mentors to see if they could do a separate technical session with them. And I was blown away when I asked our mentors to help that. I was blown away that many of them came and supported it. And so now we actually have a session going forward for the technical side for them specifically to CSO. And I can't speak enough how wonderful our mentors are, because like I said, they're doing this on a volunteer basis. And it's just amazing that we've got so many of them that go above and beyond. But we have amazing mentors. I can't say that enough. We really do. Yeah. Thank you so much, Beth.
Oh, thank you, Minerva. And as someone who's been on the team for almost 10 years now, the growth of the mentorship program is just phenomenal. I think we were under 100 when we first started it, and now it's just exploded. We have more people who want to mentor than we have the room to let them mentor, but it's wonderful to be in that predicament.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but thanks, Minerva, for all your hard work with that. It looks like Terry has his hand up.
Yes, I know that we covered a lot of information, but perhaps we didn't expose the activity and the professionalism that the CDMs bring to the program, the career development managers. I was wondering if Dina or Christy could come on and talk a little bit about what they do day to day in facilitating training.
Sure. So the career development managers, which I am a part of and work with, we handle the 20% of the program that's professional development. So some of you heard me say that this morning on the MSSA 101. Each of our career development managers, and I can't remember offhand exactly how many we have, 13 or 14 of us, work with participants from everything from identifying who they are and what they bring to the table, to what they're looking for in their roles, to how to market themselves, how to negotiate, and how to be successful in their new journey as they're going on. We all have a background in career services. Majority of our team of career development managers are veterans or military spouses themselves, so that's kind of a nice added benefit as to where we're going. So we meet with them every Friday and one full week that we call Professional Development Week, that they get to focus on learning how to sell and market themselves and identify their own brands as they're going through, for everything from resumes to LinkedIn's to just how to reach out to one of you as they're going through. And sometimes that's probably the scariest thing, is how do I reach out and make those connections and not feel like I'm just asking from everyone, if that makes sense. So I'm not sure if that answers what you're looking for, Terry, or if there was something else that you wanted me to touch on.
No, I think you covered that. Thanks, Dina.
I'd like to just share from my perspective. My favorite part of being a CDM is the relationships that you develop with your participants. I think, you become invested in their success. You become invested in seeing them get into the right job. I know Dina and I have talked about doing the happy dance, the I got a job dance, when our participants come back to us and say, hey, I got a great offer and I accepted it. And so we're in the background dancing. So it's just, you develop those relationships. And I can tell you from the very first cohort that I worked with, I am still in touch with probably 60% of those folks. And there's Frankie. Frankie was actually in one of my cohorts, and so he belongs to me. I claim him. So I think that is my favorite part of being a career development manager. So.
And I'll use this as a segue, and this is open to the internal team to explain the term once MSSA, always MSSA.
So I'll start.
We do. Oh, go ahead, Gina.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll start and say it doesn't end when you graduate. And since we're talking career development managers, that leads right into what Christy and I and others do. When you graduate, it doesn't stop that day. I'm going to continue to work with you, and as long as it takes for you to land a role. And here's the even fun part. If you have life happen, I had 1 year I was laid off twice in 1 year. So that life happens and you need that support later. We have an entire alumni program where you can come back, and we're going to put you back with a career development manager and help you get refreshed and regrow. So it's, once you're a part of our family, you're always part of our family. And if we can help support in any way, that's one element to once MSSA, always MSSA. And I'm sure Eric will have more to add to that.
No, you just covered. I was going to cover that last bit. Is what we always say to our cohorts is once an MSA grad, always an MSA grad. And it's this program's not a boot camp to where it's like, yeah, Beth, great to see you around, whatever. We stay connected together because this community also gives back, and also the voice. And with us being coming up on our 11th year, there are MSA grads now that are in leadership roles and recognize an MSA resume when it comes across their desk. So it's like, and they're willing to open the door and talk and listen for the value prop of these candidates that come across their desk. So it's just, we're here, forever. When COVID hit, unfortunately, there was a lot of people that lost jobs and hadn't touched a resume in 5-6 years, and reconnected with some of our career development managers, got them back up to speed and got them jobs again. So that's our ultimate goal, is to get people jobs at the end of the day and provide quality talent back to all of you. So.
Any other comments? How about from any of the MSSA grads that are still on with us? Have you experienced once an MSSA grad, always an MSSA grad? Have you had to utilize it? Or have everyone kind of planted where they landed, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I could jump in for that. I'm at the same position I landed, but it's a huge network. It's an amazing network. Everyone's posting out, if it's even jobs elsewhere, not at their organization, to assist with current, people going through the program. If it's connections from recruiters or anything like that, to try to help out and just get that information out there. Even with people coming into the program or thinking about the program. So it's definitely an active network. And I know a couple of people that have went through and had to get other positions, and they got the help and treatment like they're still in the program or just finished it. So that is an accurate statement, and is the best program. It's not a boot camp, of course not. And it's definitely a lot more than that. The best program, transitioning out of the military, coming, being a vet or going into a new industry, into tech. There's just nothing like it. It's definitely the best one out there.
Thank you, Frankie. And for the record, we did not pay Frankie to say that. No, we appreciate that, though. I love the bonding that occurs in the cohorts. There have been cases where people are all strangers when they come into it. By the end of it, people are really good friends. Like I've heard of cohorts where people were in each other's wedding parties, or they were a godfather to a child. So it's a really amazing camaraderie. And I think a lot of it is kind of the CDM sets the tone of that too, but it really does. People become lifelong friends and they build their networks. And it's, so much more than just a professional program that you go through. It really is kind of life altering for a lot of people. And I love hearing the stories. It's really great. Yeah, there's Megan was saying one of our grads is out of office right now in Cabo at his MSSA mate's wedding. I don't know why I didn't get invited to that one. That sounds pretty nice. Very nice. Any other things that we haven't covered? We're getting close to the end here, and we still want to hear from Eric Zuhone, who's our program director, who you got a sneak preview of, but he has some closing remarks. But I want to ensure that we've covered everything that we wanted to cover today before I turn it over to Eric. So I will give one last chance for everyone to speak their mind if there's something else to say. And Chris is saying in the comments, a big thank you to all who participated. Your comments, questions, and input were all valuable and appreciated. I certainly echo that. We really appreciate your time. It's been a long day. We appreciate those of you who have stayed with us from start to finish, and even those who weren't able to be with us for the whole day, but we appreciate the time that you did give. And thank you to all of our panelists and to our moderators, and to a special shout out to our corporate engagement team, Terry, Christy, and Margot, for putting on this wonderful event, and to Megan for all of your help with the marketing and making everything look pretty for us. So we appreciate everything and all the contributions that led to a successful day.